What's going on, guys? Antonio here. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up for me, and let's get into it. All right, so I want to talk about something that I've been seeing because a lot of people have been circulating clips of the Taraji P. Henson interview that she did with Gayle King and some of the other cast members from The Color Purple. I did watch The Color Purple. That review is going to come up, but I wanted to do this one first. And someone shared this is from Variety. So this Variety shared this, and obviously Variety's a pretty credible news source. So I wanted to share. They were trying to make a point, but I want to break this down and want to show you that there's a lot of BS in this. All right. So as you can see in the photo here on the screen, this is the very lovely Taraji P. Henson, and the young woman that is standing behind her is Ellen Pompeo, who is the star of Grey's Anatomy on ABC. It's part of the Shondaverse. Shonda Rhimes, who also created Bridgerton on Netflix and all that kind of stuff. But Ellen Pompeo, right? Okay, so let's actually get into it because I hope this creates a pretty interesting conversation because I know my wife and I talked about pay disparity. My wife is a big feminist and she likes to talk about women. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna say this. My wife is very successful at her job. I'm just gonna say it like that. She is very successful. She's a person of note within our state, and she's worked hard and she's earned what she gets, right? So but even then she points out how much she would make versus how much a man would make and all this kind of thing, right? So we've had those conversations multiple times, but let's look at it. So they're trying to break down that Taraji P. Henson might have a point. All right. So let's look at what they got here. They list certain movies. The Color Purple, Empire, which is the TV show, Proud Mary, movie, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Hustle and Flow, Hidden Figures, Minions, Karate Kid, Baby Boy, Annie. Now, they're misleading a little bit there because they didn't make an Annie movie with Taraji P. Henson. The only Annie movie that's been made in the last few years is the one with the the one with Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz, and I apologize to that young lady. I cannot pronounce her. Kwazathume, whatever. She was, but Jamie Foxx was Daddy Warbucks and all that. That's the only Annie movie. She did that, they were doing those plays live, like they do The Sound of Music. They did The Wiz. They did Annie live. So, they did Peter Pan, I recall as well. And all those are streaming. You can still watch Taraji P. Henson as in Annie on Peacock if you got Peacock, which Peacock used to be bad. It's a great service now. I really like it. Okay, and then the Muppets Haunted Mansion. Okay, so she made $175,000 per episode. And then she made $175,000 to $500,000 per movie. And then, of course, you look, and here's Ellen Pompeo. For Grey's Anatomy, she makes $500,000 per episode and $5 million sign-in bonus by year 3. Okay, so let's break that down. I'm not going to talk as much about Ellen Pompeo, so I think I'm going to take her part first. Ellen Pompeo, when she first was signed to Grey's Anatomy, even though she's Dr. Meredith Grey, so you say, okay, Grey's Anatomy, she's Meredith Grey, she's the main person on the show, right? But the biggest star on the show was Patrick Dempsey when she first got that job. If you recall, they were doing the McDreamy and the McSteamy and all that. Patrick Dempsey was the biggest known star on that show. So he was making more money than her. And in fact, you can research. Don't take my word for it. Go on Google, do some research. You'll find out what I'm saying is the truth. Patrick Dempsey was making more money than her. So then the show becomes a hit. So obviously they need her because she's the Grey in Grey's Anatomy. So they need her and they want to up her salary and, renegotiate. Hey, we want to make sure, Ellen, we love you. We want you to be a part of this success for a long time to come. All this kind of stuff, right? They go to her. She actually tells them that she wants to renegotiate her salary to be $5,000 more per episode than Patrick Dempsey. She said, you can look this up. She's admitted to this in interview. She came to them because she was trying to make a point about women not making the same amount of money as men. But she didn't get less because Patrick is a man and she's a woman. She got less because nobody knew who she was. Nobody knew who Ellen Pompeo was before Grey's Anatomy. Yeah, they go, oh, that's Ellen Pompeo for Grey's Anatomy. She was not. Can you tell me what she was doing before she got the job in Grey's Anatomy? I'm not trying to. I like Ellen Pompeo. She said some weird stuff about Denzel Washington, like, what was that, like a year and a half ago or whatever, when he had directed the episode of Grey's Anatomy. I think it was like one of his wife's favorite shows. And so he wanted to direct the episode because his wife watches Grey's Anatomy, and she said Denzel did some stuff too. And she seemed kind of tone deaf and said some stuff, and she started getting backlash about quote unquote white privilege because of the way she felt Denzel treated her and the way she spoke to Denzel and some of the things she said in the interview regarding that experience that had happened, like, say, 10 years ago or whatever. And then, people were like, is Ellen Pompeo actually a closeted racist? Blah, 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 all this kind of thing. And they was like, oh, no, she can't be racist. She's got a black husband, blah, 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 which she does. She has a black husband and I think 2 biracial children. They've been married for a long time. She's happy. He's happy. Boom, boom, boom. Do the thing. But I like Ellen Pompeo. But that's why she wasn't getting the money, because Patrick Dempsey, people knew who he was. He had been working for years and years. I remember seeing him in movies in the 80s and stuff. So they needed a star. Even though she's the Grey in Grey's Anatomy, she was getting less, not because she was a woman, but because she was not known. That's why. Let me see here. I want to show this. Okay. Now she's obviously, Patrick Dempsey left the show. She renegotiated a contract. So she's making like $20 million a year now. So here it is. For seasons 15 and 16, Ellen renegotiated her salary deal per CBS News. As of 2022, she makes $550,000 per episode and racks in an additional $6 million for syndication profits, totaling $19 million a year, Forbes reported. All right, so let's go. I'm cooking right now. So that's what it is. There's even more stuff because trust me, I wanted to talk about this because I thought this was really nice when I saw this thing that Variety shared. So, okay. So let's break all this stuff down because now I got some more stuff about Taraji that I really want to break this down because I'm a fan of Taraji's. I support Taraji, but it's not about your gender, it's about your resume. So let's actually get into your resume, Miss Henson. And obviously, if you guys, like I said, I'm not saying I'm right or whatever. If you guys think I'm wrong, please let me. I want to have this conversation. Let's have it. Okay, so they actually skipped over a pretty prominent show that she did before Empire. Taraji P. Henson was on Persons of Interest with Jim Caviezel, and that show was created and executive produced by Jonathan Nolan, the younger brother of Christopher Nolan, who of course directed Oppenheimer and the Dark Knight trilogy and so many other movies. He's been nominated for Oscars and all this kind of Inception and all these. Christopher Nolan's a genius, but Jonathan Nolan also did Westworld. So he created this show with Jim Caviezel, Person of Interest. She was on that. And she got that after she had gotten nominated for that Oscar for Hustle and Flow. So as you can see on the screen here, Hustle and Flow is listed. She wasn't known when she did what Hustle and Flow thing came out in 2003. You see they got Baby Boy at the bottom. I think that's the earliest of the movies that she did. Baby Boy, Taraji P. Henson was what a lot of people would call, she was black famous. she was known to black communities because of movies like they still showing movies like Baby Boy on streaming services. That movie's like 20 years old. It came out in 2001. It's like Kevin Hart talking about, I've been all over the world. I played in this theater. I've played this. I've done these big 100, 200, $300 million movies with The Rock and all this. He said, it's 20 something years later. People are still coming up to me talking about they saw me in Soul Plane. And remember, Soul Plane bombed, but so many black folks bootlegged it, put the DVDs out. They were selling it. That movie was being seen by people, even though they didn't buy tickets in the movie theater. And Baby Boy was one of those type movies. So Taraji Henson had that that hood fame, right? And so she did Baby Boy. 2 years later, she teams up with Terrence Howard and she does Hustle and Flow. She does Hustle and Flow, gets nominated for an Oscar. Terrence Howard also gets nominated for an Oscar. And the 3 6 Mafia, who wrote It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp, actually win the Oscar for Best Original Song. This is all 2003. Boom. So, okay, her career, at that point, you'd always just see her in quote-unquote urban movies, shows that are catered to a black audience. So now that she's getting a higher platform, she starts getting into more mainstream stuff. Okay, so let's look at that Proud Mary. I looked up Proud Mary. They spent 20 to 30 million on the budget. I think the movie only made about 20 million, but that movie was marketed to an urban audience. It's marketed to play in the hood. It's meant to be played on like TV One and BET. It's meant to be seen by black people. It's targeted to black people, right? So if you're not doing quote unquote stuff for a mainstream audience, you're not going to get that kind of money, right? Karate Kid. Okay, she did Karate Kid. With that movie, she wasn't even she was like the third lead in that. You look on the flyer, it says Jaden's. I looked up one flyer, one of the posters for Karate Kid. It said Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. It didn't even have Taraji P. Henson's name on it. So she's the main female lead in this because she's playing Jaden Smith's mom in that. She wasn't the star. That movie did $360 million. And they're supposed to be, matter of fact, I heard they were making another Karate Kid movie and Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan are both going to be in it. So that if that's true, I'm looking forward to seeing that. So it's supposed to be a continuation and, you know, like maybe Jaden Smith would play his character again or something like that. So, but they're supposed to have Jackie Chan returning as his character from the Will Smith Karate Kid movie, and then Ralph Macchio, obviously he's on Cobra Kai now, and he's the original Daniel LaRusso in the whole deal. So that would be interesting if that actually happens. Muppets Haunted Mansion. Now that's obviously meant for mainstream, family friendly. You know, it's Disney, so but yeah, apparently the most she was getting from any of these movies is $500,000. Okay, Benjamin Button. She got nominated for another Academy Award for this is a David Finch movie. Obviously, Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt was the star. So obviously, Brad Pitt and the report was when she's coming off of being nominated for an Oscar for Hustle and Flow at this point. So that's one of the reasons they wanted her. So they got her for The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. They said she came out and she asked them for $500,000, which the movie had a $300 million, $150 million budget. I think, yeah, $150 million budget. And it won 3 Oscars. I know for special, I mean, Benjamin Button's an incredible movie. It's long, but I enjoyed every second of that film, right? And it had Kate Blanchett in it, and Kate Blanchett has like 2 Oscars now. So, but she didn't have 2 Oscars then, but she has 2 Oscars since doing Benjamin Button. But Taraji P. Henson apparently only got $175,000 for Benjamin Button. So the article said that she asked for $500,000 to take the part in Benjamin Button. They didn't, they countered, they came back with $100K. They offered to only pay her $100,000 to play that part. And remember, I just said she got nominated for her second Oscar for that film. So she did, and she was in it, and she was great. I'm not denying that. I love Benjamin. Curious Case of Benjamin Button is a fantastic film. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. Right. So she did it. When they came back with the 100K, she countered again, and they decided, okay, we'll give you $175,000. She accepted the $175,000, right? Okay. Hidden Figures. She was in there with was it Octavia Spencer and Kevin Costner, both of whom had Kevin Costner had his Oscar for directing Dances with Wolves, and Octavia Spencer had won her Oscar for The Help when they made Hidden Figures. But if you've seen Hidden Figures, Taraji was clearly the main lead of that movie, and Octavia and I can't remember the other young woman. Was it Janelle Monáe, the singer? I think she was the other woman in that film. But yeah, Kevin Costner was in there. He wasn't the star, but he's Kevin Costner, so Kevin gonna get his bread. He was like, man, that's his resume is going to. He was like, wait a minute, so when y'all advertise this Hidden Figures movie, y'all gonna show me in the trailer, you're gonna say, hey, Kevin Costner's in this movie, so you're gonna have to pay Kevin Costner for using his name and likeness. You get paid for that. Once you build your reputation and your name up to a certain level, they have to pay you. So yeah, that's not Kevin Costner from what was it? When he did The Untouchables with Sean Connery, he had barely done any films then, and Sean Connery won an Oscar for The Untouchables, right? But you fast forward 30-something years or whatever, he's Kevin Costner, and he's got Oscars and all this kind of thing, and he's a bigger star. So even though the Hidden Figures movie was about these 3 black women that worked for NASA and helped with the space program and all this kind of thing, Taraji hadn't really blown up at that point, right? She wasn't that big of a star. And I still don't necessarily think she's a household name. And what I mean by a household name, if I just, they used to do this on certain TV shows. I saw David Letterman do this. They would just have a guy stand out on the corner, and then he would have a folder, and he would open the folder up, and he would pull out all these pictures of people. It wouldn't have nobody's name on it. It'd be like Tom Cruise, it'd be Michael Jordan and stuff. And it's what they call, I think they call it a Q rating. They want to know if middle America will recognize you. So like this person standing on the street corner, they just they open the folder out and they just go, do you recognize this person? Oh yeah, that's Tom Cruise. Oh, that's Michael Jordan. Okay, I don't know who that person is. Okay, how many people actually know who Taraji P. Henson was, especially going back to the time when she was doing these movies? They also have Minions here. She wasn't actually in Minions. She was in Minions, The Rise of Gru, which I think was the prequel to Minions. So it was like you had Minions and Minions, The Rise of Gru. So they had 2 different Minions, but she was in Rise of Gru, and she did a voice in that. So she probably only got like 100 and some thousand for that. So she wasn't a star. Yeah, that movie was a hit, but that movie, that's a family movie. They weren't marketing on like, oh, Taraji's doing the voice. She wasn't the star. I mean, hell, Steve Carell was the hit star that he's Gru. So stop playing with me where where you see that she's the star. Even in The Color Purple, where they're saying she's going to get nominated for an Oscar and all this kind of stuff, it's Fantasia's playing Celie. She's not. She's playing Suge. So if she gets nominated for an Oscar, she's going to get nominated for a supporting role. Okay? She wasn't the star of The Color Purple. But I found something else. Okay. So this is after she did her thing with Gayle King, right? Taraji recently garnered attention when she revealed to Elle that she might quit acting. Henson broke down in tears when she was asked about the remarks in the interview with Gayle King. She cited her salary issues once again and explained she was tired of working so hard and getting paid a fraction of the cost. She broke down her average $10 million salary and detailed how much she netted, much less than that amount. Now, one thing, they said the $10 million salary, she's not making $10 million a picture. If you Google her net worth, she's estimated to be worth $12 million, right? So they're talking about the whole time she's been working. So over the last So let's go back to Baby Boy. That's the earliest I can remember seeing her, besides some like maybe some little small. I think she was on like Living Single one show or so, doing little TV stuff. She was doing little TV appearances and little stuff like that. She wasn't no big star. So at that point, from I'd say 2001 to now, which is 2023 going into 2024, she's generated over $10 million in salary for her work. So Henson revealed 50% of the salary went to taxes, 30% to her team. She disclosed she was only taking away nearly 20% of that salary. She shared that every time she broke the glass ceiling, the salary negotiation pulled her down, leaving her exhausted. Henson shared with Gayle King. Okay, so like I said, the TV business, the whole thing about the $175,000, that $175,000, that's what she was apparently making from season 1 of Empire, which they shot 12 episodes, all the way to season 6. So I did some research. Season 2 to season 6 of Empire, they shot 18 episodes each season. That's $3.15 million a year. So she was making 3.5. Now, obviously, you go back to the beginning when we talk about Ellen Pompeo, she's not. She's making $20 million a year. She's got better. And they just put out an article saying that Taraji P. Henson fired her whole team after I think after she did The Proud Mary, and she felt like with all the buzz she was getting from Empire and stuff, because Empire was like the number one show in black households and all this kind of thing. It was, it had done really well, but apparently she was not unable to renegotiate her salary. I also looked into like some of these other actors like Kelsey Grammer, Jerry Seinfeld, like those last few seasons of Frasier, he was making over $1 million an episode. Jerry Seinfeld, like the last 2 seasons of Seinfeld, he was making $2 million an episode. The Friends stars, the 6 Friends stars, they were all getting $1 million an episode for like the last 2 seasons, because the show was doing mega numbers, and they knew they was gonna get that money back with the streaming rights. So they were like, yeah, we'll pay you guys $6 million. Cool. Boom. You got 6 stars, give them $1 million each. Boom. And that's how it works. Taraji, I gotta be honest, Taraji, I have not seen Taraji do anything where I see it as a crossover. She does a lot of stuff that gets marketed to urban audiences. So in order to get to that next level in your salary, you got to cross over to the white people. The Color Purple is marketed mostly to black audiences. When I'm looking, I watch shows that aren't targeted to black audiences, but when I watch a show like Power or something like that that is marketed to black audiences, that's when you start seeing an ad might pop up, because they recognize, they look, oh, he's black. So then they start showing me ads for The Color Purple. They're looking, if I'm looking at shows that are targeted to a black demographic, then they show me those type of ads. I noticed the YouTube advertising starts showing me these type of ads as well, because they are targeting. When we were sitting in the theater, my wife was one of I think there was only 2 white people in the audience. Everybody else in that theater was black. It was like I think it was a white person, and they had brought looked like they had brought their grandchild, and then it was my wife, and everybody else was black. So that's why I'm telling my wife, because she was looking at me, and I was like, it's The Color Purple. You're not the demo. So that's what it is. And I think Taraji needs to do things that are more mainstream, because like Proud Mary, oh, she's this urban, tough black woman, and she's doing, you know what I'm saying? Hustle and Flow, that's clearly a hood movie. Baby Boy is a hood movie. So when you do stuff like that, of course, your crossover appeal to mainstream white audiences is not going to be there. And because you're not a mainstream household name to white audiences, yes, black people know you, but they want you to cross over. Will Smith has crossed over where white people know him. You know what I'm saying? Denzel has crossed over where white people know him. There's a lot of white people don't know who Taraji P. Henson is. That's not shade. I love that sister. And I want you to get the bag. But that's why. That's why the money is not there. That's why Ellen Pompeo is getting her money and you not getting yours. But that's what it is. Get in the comments. Let's have a real discussion. If you think I'm wrong, I want to hear it. Please talk to me about this. Also, again, ikaripress.com. Support my book brand, Way of the Gun. The link is, of course, in the description. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Follow me on all social media at Ikari Press, because I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm also on Threads, all at Ikari Press. So give me a follow. I'm out.